What's going on, guys? Week 5, back again. Draft Classic Season 17, Kyogre recaps. Let's get into it. So, first up matchup, we got Sean of the Atlantic City Wingles versus Jatun. Two buddies going up against each other. I would say matchup looks very interesting. Zero Aura looks like it's good, though it does struggle with Landorus and maybe Raging Bolt, but I think just an offensive set could be really good here. Starmie looks good as well, but again, Talonflame and low pony outspeeding is not super great. Low pony looks pretty good here, which is like close combat, so we can really kind of do some work in the late game. And then Raging Bolt looks solid here, just has to make sure it gets its plays right, not Dracoing on Tinkaton and like Volt Switch / Thunderclapping on Zero Aura. And yeah, Blissey could be annoying for Blissephalon, but Blissephalon goes in, and I think honestly things like Landorus are going to be kind of a big problem because Sean's only real answers to that are like Mudsteel and Mandibuzz. So like I feel like if you just like U-turn on that, that could be kind of tough to deal with. So let's see what the matchup entails. Sean brings pretty much what you'd expect. Honestly, Abomasnow looked decent in this matchup, actually. I don't remember if he was planning on bringing it or not, but Jatun's team looks also pretty standard. I think Klefki's kind of main check to Kyogre Black here. And yeah, like it looks like Jatun's game plan, it's probably going to consist of just getting off damage with his like U-turners like Landorus, maybe break with Raging Bolt if he can, maybe try to like pick some stuff off and then try to clean up with Megalop, and then Sean's game plan is probably going to be similar stuff. I like Milotic as a stopgap to Starmie. Maybe Sean can bring a fun set to try to check that, but we'll see. So don't know what they're going to lead here, but Starmie is what Sean leads. Very common lead for him. And Jatun rightfully leads Milotic. So this seems like a pretty free flip turn on both of their parts. Flip turn will also gauge if he's Rocky Helmet. And yeah, flip turn on Milotic is very, very free here. So more reason to have a Water Absorber, guys. It's going to be Rocky Helmet, as most Pokemon that are meant to check Starmie are. Milotic gets a slow flip turn. We'll see if this Tentacruel is Black Sludge, as it does end up being Black Sludge. Now, if this is a fast Tentacruel and this is a not Scarf Landorus, we'll see if this ends up outspeeding, and it does outspeed. Nice, so he's probably got some speed on that Tentacruel. And then Landorus just Earthquakes and does 67%, which is kind of insane. Maybe he goes for the cover here. Good play, because you know that if you flip turn, then obviously Milotic will just kill you. So, yeah, he's going to recover again. Makes sense. He's going to get the Scald Burn here. He does. That's pretty unfortunate. I do think that definitely makes Starmie kind of neutered. We'll see if it's mixed, but definitely sucks and puts it in range of some stuff as well, I'm sure. So Tentacruel comes back in. He's going to go back to Lando. Taking Chip, but again, like Lando applies a lot of offensive pressure. We see it's leftovers, so it's a little bit on the bulkier side, or at least trying to go for longevity, and gets an absolute. I think that was a max roll. Like, there's no way you go 67 to 78 with Earthquake without that being a min max roll. So probably like 50-50 chance to kill there, but kind of sucks. Sean's part just loses Starmie, but granted, he was probably losing it anyway unless they got low rolled because of the burn after. But still definitely unfortunate. He does not have great Landorus switch-ins here. So it goes Kyogre Black, but it does have a very easy Klefki switch-in. Does have the sub. I was going to say sub would be really good to kind of at least force this thing to apply some pressure. It can like Thunder Wave you, so it basically forces you not to get that prediction right. Klefki looks kind of annoying though, just setting up screens or like spikes or stuff. So he's gonna just go for Fusion Bolt. Does a solid 33. Unless this thing has rest, but it's probably like lefties or not. Oh, it's not even. It's probably Lake Clay then. So gonna get the T-Wave off. He goes hard Tentacruel. Gets paralyzed, which kind of sucks because you'd like to get a little flip turn off there. Or a Toxic Spikes, which is actually very, very good considering that his only defogger is Talonflame and Lando, both of which Talonflame is a little easier defogging, but most likely the Talon. Gonna flip turn here, get some Rocky Helmet chip. This Rocky Helmet really putting in work here. Gonna knock off the item on Milotic. Getting burned here would really suck, but it's probably gonna happen. Gets crit, does get burned. Yeah, so the crit burn, not great there. But again, what can you really do, right? So getting the Toxic off, at least trying to put this thing on a timer, because without Zera Aura burned and everything else, it's going to be really hard to break this Melodic. That did 10%, by the way, just so you guys know. So flip turn's gonna die to burn. At least you get momentum, and Reflect is still up, so you can probably get some rocks up here, at least, you know, force some pressure. But then again, if this Town Flame is boots, then it's really not gonna matter. So I think Sean's kind of getting on the back foot a little bit here, but he does get the Toxic off on Lando, so nice. But I'm not really seeing what the end game is. I do know it is Tinkaton set, so I think that's what he's going for. But I think in this scenario, it was just kind of tough. Does get pretty unlucky, but you know, it's that's Pokemon, right? So ends up being Boots, Kieran Black. Gonna kill this Landorus with Icicle Spear. Nice, at least get rid of this thing. Should have probably pressured this thing earlier if you could, but you know, you can't really do that when you can't switch in. Air Balloon would have been cool though. Gonna defog away the hazards. Mudsdale can pretty freely Earthquake here. Ends up going for rocks. And getting that Reflect up really sucks for Sean. Gonna miss the T-Wave, so it keeps Sean in this game. But it is unfortunate, yeah, because now Gigaton Hammer cannot kill with that. So he actually doesn't T-Wave again, which is very interesting. Getting some chip on this is good, though, because now you can put this thing in Law Bunny range. So close combat, it's going to kill it. And yeah, at this point, it's kind of just be Mudsdale trying to hold his own. But Sean makes a good play trying to double, expecting the Milotic. But he gets predicted and goes for CC Raw. I do think, I don't know if Earthquake killed. It probably did a good amount from that range. So it makes sense why he would just CC there. He probably doesn't care. But going to Milotic would make a little bit more like just trying to be conservative. But Jotun just makes a good play and just goes that. But getting the stamina boost definitely sucks. So he's gonna get triple Axle and get three boosts of stamina. I think just going for CC was a little bit better there, because I think overall with one hit of CC versus 3 hits where you're boosting stamina, it's gonna be a little bit better. So gonna clean this up with the Raging Bolt, get a solid 3-0 win versus Sean. Sean's a very good player, and Jotun definitely prepped and played this game really well. Obviously got a little bit lucky with the burns and stuff, but I think his game plan just seemed a lot more straightforward. I think Sean was banking on Tinkaton, which had great matchup this game, but I think definitely just got caught lacking a little bit with like some prep. I think Jotun just prepped really well with like Rocky Helmet, Milotic, and really strong strong Lando. I think Sean definitely not having a Landorus check that was solid definitely hurt him. So okay, moving on to C3 TLC versus Cooley. This was the last game of the week, so kind of bounce it around here. Miami. On paper, Val looks insane. There's no resist other than Wheezing here. Hat obviously can take some hits, but Moonblast isn't really appreciated. So Registeel could be annoying as well. We'll see how that fares. It looks like pretty decent into like stuff like Scizor and like just getting up rocks and being annoying. Zarude looks okay here. We'll see if he ends up bringing it. I honestly might not, because it doesn't really do much versus like Chiyu, Iron Val. Potentially get like, Petrant it's not really beating Petrant. So it's also not great against Scizor. So I actually don't think he brings Zarude. It's probably like Zardex, Iron Treads, Keldeo, Torn, Registeel, and then like is either Hat or Wheezing. Probably Hatterene. I feel like Wheezing is solid here. But just kind of does get just dropped by a lot of stuff. I feel like Hat just does what Wheezing is doing a little bit better, because Hat can also pressure stuff like Petrant a little bit more, and also Mega Scizor, which Wheezing can do as well, don't get me wrong. But I just feel like it's just slightly better. I think just taking on more of Iron Valley, its hits. I don't know. You can justify Wheezing. I'm just more of a Hat fan. It's just more offensively potent. And Cooley's team doesn't have a great fairy resist outside of Mega Scizor and Petch. So yeah, probably Iron Valley endgame. Noivern seems okay here. Chiyu's very much coming. Crocodile looks pretty good here as well. Doesn't really have great, like, just catch-all checks to it other than Keldeo, and that thing getting knocked isn't, like, the best thing in the world. Keldeo looks insane. I think Keldeo is going to really go in here if he's not careful. Okay. She uses a Sprite now, which is awesome. Okay. So, hopefully you guys like the Legends of Zelda music as well. Ends up bringing Serena as well. I actually don't think I updated. Yeah, this is the old thing. I think he has Serena over Arboliva. That's fine. But yeah, so C3 actually does bring the Zarude, which is fine. Like it does pretty good like, knocking stuff. It does bring basically everything else the same. What was the Pokemon he dropped? Oh, he left Iron Treads on the bench, which is fine. I mean, it kind of loses the Chi-Yu. I just, having something to... But then again, it kind of does the same thing as Registeel, so I can understand. And Zarude can have good speed matchups. As for lead, I feel like Rotom feels pretty safe. I feel like you don't want to lead Zarude. I mean, I think Hatterene feels pretty good. Nothing can really, like, OHKO it, so... It does lead Zarude, ends up leading Noivern. Again, not a horrible lead here. You can pretty much just U-turn, unless this thing is Scarf. If that thing was Scarf and just killed it, that would have been nice. Ends up U-turning himself, getting slowed to U-turn is great. Chi-Yu comes in, so this is a great position for Cooley. Really able to kind of apply some pressure with Chi-Yu, because look at this team, look at Chi-Yu. Like, there's not a switch in. So Keldeo comes in, ends up being very, very bulky. It looks like AV, and it ended up being AV as well. Keldeo, again, like, it's kind of like a battle of just, like, who's going to hit harder here. Not really a great switch in here. So Spidef Rotom's probably his best answer. We'll see if it ends up being Spidef or Fizdef to take Secret Swords better. Gets crit, but it doesn't really matter. Ends up Volt Switching, gets something on this hat. Ends up going Serena. Takes a good chunk from that Psychic, but not too much. I would just U-turn here, yeah. Keeping up the momentum, which is great. Going Rotom here, I think it's fine. I think, yeah, the thing with Petron is it kind of just, like, gets screwed by Registeel. Like, basically just gives it free rocks. So, Rotom here is fine. You can just go Volt Switch again, and you get a really solid thing here. But Thunder Wave makes sense. I think a sub there would have been kind of tough. But, if you run into some, like, foul play, I can understand. I think you pretty much just always Volt Switch because... I mean, T-Wave's fine, but, like, you have ways to hopefully check Zard. I guess, yeah, Pecharunt kind of just sits on Zard all day. Like, you can just kind of, like, Toxic that, and then you're fine. So, anyway, get a Volt Switch now. Puts this thing in a tough position. And I don't really know if you go Serena here, or if you go, like, you really don't have a great Hatterene switch. You could go Chi-Yu, but, like, it does hinge on him going for Psychic again, which I think is a little obvious. So I think if I was C3 here, I think going for Nuzzle or Dazzling Gleam is really solid here. Because you know that Rotom's probably not going to stay in. It wants to stay healthy for Keldeo. Like, even if it does stay in, it's fine. Because, like, what is it going to do? Go for Hydro? That's fine. And if he's, like, if you're Calm Mind, then that's going to put him in a really tough spot. Ends up going for Nuzzle, great play on C3's part, and basically cripples the Chi-Yu. So this is going to be a really tough position now for, what's it called? For Cooley, because now it's, like, going to be in a spot where Chi-Yu's really just dead weight. Overheat does a ton. That looks, if that is AV, it actually ended up being Specs Chi-Yu. So that doing 42 is insane. Doesn't have Wish support, though, so, like, this Keldeo's be very limited check now. Like, basically nothing switches in Overheat. He's got to Mega that Chard in order to Chard X to do anything. Anyway, Parting Shot ends up actually not working on Clear Body. I actually didn't know that. I thought it was, like, only for, like, Clear Amulet. But that makes sense, right? So, yeah, so Curse ends up cursing up. This is Setup Reggie, which actually looks insane in this matchup. And we're going to kind of go a little bit. I think, so the thing with this game is that Cooley's counterplay to this was a little bit lackluster because of the fact that he didn't realize that this was, that rest actually was 2 turns. And you'll see why this is important. So Heavy Slam Body Press looks insane into this team. Like, it basically hits the entirety of his team neutral. So really, really solid bring here on C3's part. But he's gonna go Petra, and you're gonna see that he's gonna try to go for Nasty Plots, or for Shadow Balls. I thought he was gonna try to like Nasty Plot up, which would be awesome because this team actually looks really weak to Nasty Plot Petra. So you could run this Nasty. Honestly, I think Parting Shot was really the big seller here. I think if you ran Nasty Plot over that, because you know that Parting Shot is kind of a bad bring, in my opinion, to stuff like Hatterene, and Nasty Plot gives you a lot of leverage versus stuff like Charizard, versus stuff like Tornadus, and even like like especially Registeel is like the big one, right? Like you really want to be able to hit that thing hard, because even super effective hits like Earthquake from Treads is not hitting super hard, and I'm sure +2 Shadow Ball does a lot, but this game is pretty funny in the sense that like it's just gonna be C3 just setting up with his Registeel, ends up being Rest, which really sucks for Cooley. And then he doesn't go hard Chi-Yu, which is definitely the play every time there, right? Because you know that he's Rest into attacks, so you know he can never be Sleep Talk, so you're basically, like, I understand if you're, like, trying to predict him switching out, but, like, he's kind of just gonna sit here until he's forced not to, right? And he's also getting leftovers recovery, so not knowing that Rest was like guaranteed 2 turns basically made this game really, really hard for him, because he's letting his Petrine get PP stalled and not being in the optimal position, right? Because if he went hard to you, like, sure, you can get parried, but like you basically get a free Dark Pulse and something, because Caldeus at 16%, like Dark Pulse is just running through his team, and Zarude is not going to take those well. So yeah, Dark Pulse basically would have won. I think honestly, if you go hard to you and you just like Dark Pulse there, you probably Dark Pulse twice and you cook. Granted, like if it's on the last turn, then you switch into Petron again, and then you reset it and like force him to do that again. But yeah, so this is an unfortunate situation. It's really just going to end up with C3 winning with his Registeel, because yeah, that's going to be the game. It kind of goes with a back and forth. You know, it kind of just was like him trying to. He doesn't run special fighting move on Iron Vow, and doesn't run fire move on Noivern. So really tough situation for Cooley, but 'tis the game. So yeah, unfortunate. But I'm sure he'll bounce back, just not next week, because we play him next week. So it'll be hopefully a good game, but yeah, hopefully we win that. Okay, so we're going to go up against the Basque Legion of Boom. This is my matchup versus the Chicago Bewares. On paper, I actually really don't like my matchup. I think that Megalodi is really annoying to deal with. Basically hits my entire team for super effective or really strong neutral damage. Mega Delphox is okay into it, and it being item locked is really nice. But that being said, it is still really tough to prep against, because it can just run like Aura Sphere for Bisharp. So realistically, it can honestly just run like Luster Purge, Aura Sphere, Draco, and then Roost, and then it's in a really good spot, because it can just get like I guess Chip is like, it doesn't even really need Roost. You can honestly just run no Roost, Calm Mind, or something like that, and then just like hope for the best. Or even like DD if you want to get the speed boost, or like Scale Shot or something. I can honestly see like Scale Shot Megalodios being really good, because it has decent attack, and you can Scale Shot on something like a Delphox and then just like kill with Draco. So yeah, I think that actually would be a really cook set, but we do have some counterplay to that anyway. So yeah, Megalodi, I don't like my matchup into like Ferrothorn, Toxapex, and Blaziken. Blaziken just like can really run up my crap. Garchomp is unfortunately like would be a main check to that, and so would Cofagrigus. But the thing is, like, I looked at this matchup and I saw like no Fairy and Garchomp with Scale Shot SD, and I was like, oh, this looks insane. And I really was torn up if I decide, do I go set up Garchomp or bulky Garchomp, because bulky Garchomp feels a little bit more consistent, right? Like it can take on stuff like Liscor, set up hazards, take on Blaziken, but I feel like with defensive Garchomp, it just felt like it was like overextending itself, trying to take on all these like defensive Pokemon. Great answer to stuff like Ferrothorn and stuff, but like I just felt like it wasn't really gaining me much, and like it kind of just like is also a Pokemon you can kind of just set up hazards on, and it had like 4 move slot syndrome. Like I want to run Fire move, I want to run ground move, I want to run Dragon move, and then like I only have 1 slot to run either Spikes or Stealth Rocks, and can't even run like Dragon Tail to kind of like get his team around, to like try to swivel him around. But, it's good versus stuff like low kick. So I kind of hinged on, like, I'm like, okay, Call Rodriguez also is, like, a Blaziken check, but, like, it's kind of bad into, like, Zoroark, low kicks, like, even Blaziken, like, if he's the right set, like, it can just straight up OHKO me with a +2 Flare Blitz, which isn't great, right? Like, we'd rather not our defensive check get killed by that. And it can't really break through Toxapex because it's slower. It can do, like, Nasty Plot Psychic, but overall it's kind of, like, meh. But Ogerpon has great matchup, and Delphox has great matchup. Like, his team is so slow, we can run Modest and, like, still run a ton of, like, a good amount of bulk. So, that is the good news here, is that Delphox can really just go in the right setting, but low kicks kind of, it's a nice stopgap to that, like, protects, like, Blaziken doesn't kill with knockoff, but, protecting and going for knock is going to do a lot. So, if he gets even a little bit of chip, we got to be really careful, but basically, I'm going to end up running just my standard Delphox set. End up running Fire Blast because at +2, it can OHKO Spadef Gliscor. Now, this does make me a little bit weaker to Ferrothorn because my main way of dealing with it, or just like basically nipping into the bud, is an inaccurate move. So not running Flamethrower definitely hurts a little bit, but I think, honestly, the opportunity cost of running Fire Blast for the Gliscor is really nice. And you see we're actually rocking the Bisharp for the first time. We'll go over that at the end, but ended up kind of going with Scale Shot Garchomp, and what's really cool about this set is that because he has such a slow team, and even his top-end speed is really locked into running, like Mega Latios, obviously can't run Scarf, so, like, the main thing I need to outspeed here is, like, Scarf Blaziken, or +1 Blaziken, right? So, basically, it just puts us in a position where, like, even if he gets a Protect off, and we're already at +1, which is very likely with this set, he has to get double to Protect, basically, to get through. And that's not to say if he doesn't, like, bring it in after we get, like, a 2 Scale Shots up or something. So, this is a great set because we also are allowed to basically just kill Ferrothorn. And Adamant is amazing. We get so much more damage off with Adamant, and it's just so amazing in this matchup. We actually have a good amount of bulk too, and Lumberry is a great way to prevent stuff like Scald and Toxapex from being annoying, potential Toxics from things like Gliscor. We basically get a free turn there, so we can, like, Swords Dance and we get a free turn, and then, like, he either has to try to Toxic again with Gliscor, or, like, just accept his fate and try to, like, go for, like, I mean, because at that point, you, like, Toxapex is probably not your best answer. Like, even if we're if he's, like, Shooker or something, he still takes, like, 90% from +2. So, yeah, Garchomp's in a really, really awesome spot this game where, like, if we can, like, set it up properly, it's gonna cook. And Scale Shot, my main reason for not running Loaded Dice was, as the aforementioned, like, he has a lot of status inflicting Pokemon. And also, Latios dies to a +2 Scale Shot. So, like, I'm perfectly fine with, like, we can very freely get an SD versus stuff like Ferrothorn, versus stuff like, even, like, a Toxapex, because, like, he can just haze, but, like, if he ever gets that play wrong and we just Earthquake him straight up, then, like, that's fine, and, like, he can't burn us if we still have a Lumberry attack. So, his best way of, like, revenging it is, like, low kicks, and if he doesn't have that, like, unless he's Scarf Zoroark, it can just, like, run through his team. If we can get some chip on Gliscor, because obviously that's, like, the main stopgap to this set. So, moving on to Terapagos, we are enough speed to outspeed. I believe this is Adamant, or, like, not speed boosting Gliscor. So there's that. I figured it's, pretty close to just going to outpace Blaziken, so it's fine. Terra Starstorm does insane damage. It basically I think it kills low kicks. It does a lot. Great into Ferrothorn. Toxapex, yeah, its only downside is, like, with Calm Mind, it's really not beating Toxapex 1v1. So I kind of wanted to running Stealth Rocks, but in the case he's either not running Haze, or, like, we can get Toxapex in a range where, like, Calm Mind just can kill it if he tries to switch into it, then we're in a really good spot. So, yeah, I really like Terapagos just as kind of like a breaker here, and just kind of a way to get rid of all the hazards. Like, we definitely wanted something, like, to get rid of hazards here, as obviously it enables Delphox. So, yeah, we really didn't need that third move. That third move, I was, again, debating rocks, debating a lot of different stuff. Earth Power to hit Toxapex a little harder, Meteor Beam, a lot of good stuff. I could honestly have run, like, Roar, but, like, I was, like, I kind of like the aspect of running Calm Mind. And it can also allow me to potentially deal with Lottie a little better. I think actually maybe Roar would have been a little better. Gliscor as well, though. My main thing was like 1v1ing Gliscor. And Ice Beam was nice, but like I wanted a way to both like 1v1 Gliscor and Toxapex, and I feel like Calm Mind kind of did that in one move instead of like Ice Beam can like Oko Gliscor, but like Terrastar Storm's doing a good amount too, so I'm not really too worried about that. Okay, so this actually, I believe I just ran Superpower here. This took me forever. I was like, what do I run on this Ogerpon, right? Because I want like 4 moves here, right? Or I want 5. I want Swords Dance, I want Superpower, I want Power Whip, I want Ivy Cudgel, and I want U-Turn, right? With this 3, I can't hit Latios. Without Superpower, I can hit Ferrothorn. Without Power Whip, I can't hit Toxapex. And without Ivy Cudgel, I can't really hit Gliscor. So it was kind of a give and take of like what I want to hit. Ivy Cudgel felt like most like needed. Like I actually even consider not running Cudgel, but I feel like you kind of need Cudgel for a Blaziken team. So I'm like, I'm not going to drop Cudgel, right? Honestly, could run Low Kick, but like +2 Swords Dance with Superpower like always kills defensive Pharaoh. Like it does 100 minimum, which is awesome. Like unless he's Choppleberry, which I could see him being, but I don't really have like a great fighting type outside of Slitherwing, and like I don't really see him running Chopple for that. I think he's probably just gonna run Helmet, right? So I think Swords Dance is like amazing here. Like even versus stuff like Lottie, I think Lottie takes like 70 from Ivy Cudgel, which is insane. Like Ogerpon's just so strong. Honestly, even debating running Protect here because of low kicks, so he can't revenge me. But I felt that like if he does bring low kicks, I have a much better check in that, which is our Pheasantipity. And I would much rather just like not like I'd rather break through him than try to like catch him off guard with low kicks, which he might not even bring. And that's a problem with like first impression Pokemon, like, and that's why I love Slitherwing, is that it basically forces you to be like, okay, if he doesn't bring Slitherwing and I run Protect on something, like I lose such a valuable move slot. So it's really hard to justify sometimes, and honestly I was like kind of debating it, but this feels like the best. +2 Power Whip kills most variants of Toxapex. Ivy Cudgel like almost kills Gliscor without even boosting up, and then like the rest of his team just like does not take a hit outside of like Avalugg. So yeah, Ivy Cudgel is like just insane here, and it's honestly a great breaker. I really wanted to run U-Turn here, but I can't really justify it. Speed Tying Lottie, and that's kind of the point there. Pheasantipity, very interesting set. Kind of just wanted to run enough defense. This is enough to live Luster Purge after Rocks from Lottie. And the defense is there to just take on everything that's Phys-Def or physically offensive even better. His physical offense is really solid. His special offense is really limited to like Lottie and stuff. Obviously, he can bring like Indeedee, but I don't think that's that great, especially into the fact that I'm bringing Bisharp. So Indeedee could be good here. We just have to be kind of like I don't think he really breaks through stuff like Delphox or stuff. Like it's not amazing, right? U-Turn is nice. It allows me to potentially get like poisons on Lottie or like random stuff. Moonblast does, decent damage. It can do a lot to low kicks and do a lot to Lottie. Really just kind of a pivot here. Like I didn't love Pheasantipity's matchup here because of like Toxapex. I was like debating like Calm Mind or like something to like beat it 1v1, but honestly with like Heat Wave to hit Ferrothorn, like make that not a safe switch. Moonblast to just hit things pretty solidly other side of Toxapex, and U-Turn to just like get in something like a Garchomp or something, or like if Bisharp's still around, then we can come into that pretty freely on Toxapex. So okay, so we're running Bisharp. This actually Sash Lead Bisharp with max attack Adamant with speed, so that if he's like not speed on Gliscor, we can outspeed that. Don't really obviously need a ton of bulk if I'm running Sash, so I figured, you know what, rather just go all out in the offensive. Swords Dance allows me to potentially 1v1 something like Toxapex if he isn't clicking Haze, or even something like Ferrothorn, just get some more damage off. Swords Dance was like just that last move that felt fine. Like I could even run like Taunt or something to like prevent him from like setting up hazards or like recovering on stuff, but I feel like Swords Dance just felt a little bit better to just force that pressure with that lead. And Rocks felt pretty free here. He doesn't have great removal, so figured, if you're running Avalugg and Gliscor as your main hazard removers, obviously if you're a Rotom fan and Lottie as well, but yeah, excited to bring it this week. I plan to lead it and then just go from there. Okay, so brings pretty much the most threatening team you could, though he doesn't bring low kicks. Ends up bringing Zoroark instead, which I think is actually great for me because it makes Pheasantipity even better. The kind of the upside to bring Pheasantipity is if he does want to bring his Zoroark, it's also a solid check to that because it's just so naturally Spidef. Okay, so we're gonna lead Bisharp, and which is great because like he does not have a Dark Resist other than Blaziken, so We can pretty freely just go for, we're going to turn off that sound. Actually, we're going to mute. Pretty freely go for rocks here. If he wants to stay in with Lottie, that's fine. Actually, no, I went for knock here because, and this is my reasoning, because Owen has a tendency to go hard Gliscor on stuff that, like, he shouldn't go hard Gliscor on, because obviously you can risk getting knocked. So I was like, okay, if he just, like, honestly getting damage on Lottie feels way better than getting up rocks. Rocks are fine here, but, like, he's not, like, he doesn't have low kicks. Like, I don't really need rocks as much as I just want to get rid of items here, right? So if he goes Toxapex, if he goes Ferrothorn, great. Like, we can knock a Rocky Helmet. Obviously, Ferrothorn would suck because, like, we just die to a body press after, but, like, I don't really mind knocking off Ferrothorn's item, then going for, like, rocks, and then if he wants to go for rocks himself, great. We can save our Ferrothorn and go either hard Guard Chomp. We can go I probably wouldn't go hard Delphox. He probably just... We can even go, like, hard... Terrapagos I'd probably want to save, because that's a good stopgap versus anything. So, like, we can always preserve that to, like, potentially take out a Blaziken later. So, anyway, we go for knockoff. He's just going to lose his Toxic Orb, which is just, like, so phenomenal for us. And especially in Gliscor, which is great about Bisharp, is it kind of forces and stuff like Gliscor, and then it makes Garchomp, like, unwinnable in the late game. Ends up being fast enough to be able to outspeed us. Isn't, like, super offensive there, but obviously we do that. We're going to Sucker here, because I really don't need this Bisharp, and honestly just putting this thing in range of stuff is great. He could be Roost, potentially, but if he's not, then it's fine, too. Like, we can just Sucker to get some chip off. Like, I'm not really trying to save this thing. Like, we don't really have a great Gliscor switch, so... Ends up going for knockoff, expecting me to bring in something like a Garchomp, or, like, something that's maybe like Ogerpon. I don't know. I think Garchomp was probably or maybe well, Delphox obviously isn't Mega yet, so gonna show him Sash. I'm gonna get another Sucker Punch off. Ends up knocking off again. So yeah, we're gonna go Garchomp here. This feels like a very safe Sword Stance here, especially if it goes for, like, I don't know why you'd ever, like, he should have gone for Protect here. He ends up doing that, right? Because maybe he just was, like, expecting, I don't know, me to just attack him. But, I like, again, Protect is not really getting you anything other than giving me a free turn. So, kind of something to be unfortunate about. We do miss the Skill Shot, which does suck, but he ends up being Defog and not Ice Fang. So, I was thinking even if he's Ice Fang, it's only going to do, like, 60% probably. And we can pretty freely just go for a Skill Shot after. And if he wants to, like, try to play around with, like, Pharaoh, he can be my guest. Okay, so I was fully expecting him to, like, so I was like, okay, this could be Zoroark here. But Fire Fang is still going to do a heck of a lot of damage. So I'm not really too mad about him, like, going for, like, a Icy Wind or something here with his thing. But he ends up being just regular Pharaoh. So that's going to be awesome. Take some chip. Probably put ourselves in range of Icy Wind here. Brings Latios, and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to Skill Shot here. And like I said, +2 always kills. We do hit, which is amazing, so we get the 2 KO. Take out the Lottie, and now he can't even outspeed us with either +2 Blaziken or a... he has to get, like, triple Protect on Blaziken now. And Zoroark, which actually, funnily enough, this crit didn't even matter, even if I wasn't even +2. So, like, that Earthquake will actually kill most of the time. Zoroark is not very bulky. So we're gonna, just kill this Pex, and then he's not even gonna try to go for Protects if maybe he didn't have it, which is fair. So yeah, we basically get the Garchomp 5-0, which is awesome. So yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so next up we have BSE versus, I believe this is the Tampa Dynamos. Anchor versus Ayer, the Ayers here. Honestly, I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it. Like, this is a more bulky, like a stall team essentially. So, yeah, like this is, Dracovish just goes in here. I'm gonna be so honest with you guys. Like, Dracovish just, like, cooks, like, absolutely cooks. He also doesn't, like, have a great water resist at all. Like, his water resist is Cottony. Yeah, I would have gotten, like, a water absorber or, like, something in, like, Meryl or something. Or actually, no. What's like a water absorber that's... Is there a water absorber that's immune to dragon moves or something? I don't know. But, yeah, your best check is, like, maybe Granbull. Otherwise, Coco's annoying for this team, like, because it can just kind of U-turn out on, like, Ting Lu and Slow King, which are very obvious switch-ins, and then it can do some good damage to Dragapult and Mega Gren, which neither of which can really kill other than, like, Gren with, like, Sludge Wave or something. Yeah, King Gambit looks annoying here. Yeah, like this is gonna be a tough team for the Centrets to beat. Okay, so he ends up bringing pretty much everything you'd expect on both fronts. End up bringing Granbull over like Darmanitan, makes sense, right? Like you want something to check Jacobish a little bit more. Gives you an Intimidate Pokemon. Probably gonna lead Dragapult, and I would say honestly, Inker probably leads either Coco, could lead honestly just like Scarf Dracovish too. Ends up leading the Slowking. As he leads Dracovish, which is, off to a great start. I think leaving Dragapult would have been better there. You outspeed pretty much the whole team unless he's like a Scarf Iron Leaves or something. So you can really put yourself in a great position there. Slowking is going to basically be food for this thing. So you're going to go Granbull, and he immediately takes like 85% from this Vicious Rend, which I believe that was Scarf. Or no, I think that's banned, right? Because you don't really need to run Scarf in this matchup. You cannot speak Greninja or Dragapult, and then everything else just like dies to banned, and you're faster than all of it. So yeah, like this is an insane matchup for Dracovish. It's just gonna kill this Granbull. Basically force to go something faster like Dragapult. And you can make the Shadow Ball play, which is fine. Gonna be probably Boots Dragapult. Maybe it's like Spell Tag or something. Gonna Roost it off, which is nice, but like even Chilly Receptioning here, which you do. You're gonna go what, Tinglu? Yeah, like this team and like. Basically, this team just loses on preview to Dracovish, so it's just an unfortunate circumstance. Honestly, I'm surprised that this game probably wasn't as... Yeah, like, he has to, like, sack something. I wouldn't have sacked Dragapult. I think I would have sacked something a little less important. Now, granted, like, you don't really... you kind of need Corviknight for Iron Leaves, but now you basically have to go Greninja, which, like, what do you even hit it with, right? Like Sludge Wave? Yeah. So, ends up switching hard into a Sludge Wave, takes 93%. I would just go for U-turn here if I was him. Yeah, he does. Awesome. And now you can go into Tinglu again. And then, honestly, I would just Whirlwind here. Like, what is he really doing to you? Is he Whirlwind? Yeah, he does. Okay, awesome. Gets in the Iron Leaves, which is like, it's fine. Going for Wild Charge here. Ends up being Rocky Helmet, which is awesome. I would go for U-turn here, but also could maybe see him going for, yeah. So he's making all the right plays. Again, this is more of just a thing of, like, prep. And honestly, I'm going to spare you the details. Like, it's kind of like he tries his best, but, like look at this team looking Dracovish. Like, he gets lucky. If he actually went for Psychic there, that would have been good. But, again, Dracovish comes in and just claims one, right? So there's really no way of winning this, right? Like, as long as you have a Mon that's faster than Greninja or can, like, offensively pressure it, like, even Dracovish, like, he can basically just not die to a move, and you're just gonna die himself. So I wouldn't even mind if, like, he honestly could have just, like, raw Vicious Rended on this turn. Like, I guess you don't want to get, like, crit poisoned or something, but, like, I don't know. I feel like, what is Gren even doing to you? You can't Dragon Move, doesn't have Fairy Move. I don't know. Maybe he was expecting, like, Dragon Move, but I don't even know if this thing gets a Dragon Move. Dual Chop, maybe? I don't know. But I would have just Vicious Rended there. Maybe, like, because if he goes for, like, Hydro Pump or something and he takes the Vicious Rend, then it's like, what are you really doing there? Okay, so, yeah, basically gonna culminate in Dracovish taking this one out. Yeah, Greninja does solid chunk with Dark Pulse. I guess getting Dark Pulse flinched would have been, yeah, I guess he was probably afraid of Dark Pulse flinch. So yeah, that's gonna be the game. I'm just gonna Vicious Rend, Banded Vicious Rend on matchup, just really solid. So kind of a broken Pokemon, though I will say kind of a Pokemon you can kind of prepare for and prep it if you just unfortunately it's like one of those Pokemon you kind of need like a Water Absorber for. Yeah, it's very matchup dependent, but when it works, it works. Okay, so moving on to Ionite versus Tavin. Tavin made some free agents, so now he has Vikavolt and an Excadrill. So decent team here. And Ionite has a pretty solid lineup himself, so we'll see what happens. Ionite is pretty known for leaving stuff like leaving Electros, though I will say Ninetales has a pretty good matchup here. So he does end up leading the Ninetales, and he's going to end up leading Vikavolt. So Vikavolt, pretty solid here. You can pretty much just get up your Sticky Web if you want. I guess you have Kofag or Donphan, but you don't have a Ghost type. So goes for Flash Cannon, which is great. So you can 2-KO the Ninetales, which is awesome. Goes for Blizzard, gets up the Sticky Web, and now you can go for either Flash Cannon again or Volt Switch, whatever you decide to do. Spit Off Drop kind of sucks because it means you're taking a little bit more. Ends up going to Avalugg, which is very interesting. Ends up getting a Veil, which is very cool. Ends up being Mountain Gale, which is really interesting. Takes that spin not well at all. But loses the Sticky Web, which I think is going to be kind of important because it means that you can't slow down that Spectrier in the late game. So that's kind of important if it's like Scarf or something. Ends up being Sword Stance or Urshifu with Surging Strikes, which is going to break through the Veil. I think Veil was a cool idea, but again, like versus a team with Urshifu, it's like why I didn't end up bringing Screens versus Ionite. I'm like, this Screen's really good. Granted, you know, you have Zapdos, which takes a +3 Urshifu move, which is awesome. Now it's this thing Ice Shard. It ends up not being Ice Shard, but we'll see what he ends up being. So he's going to Rapid Spin, get away those rocks, which is very nice. Ends up missing a Heat Wave, which sucks. Means that he can basically get some free damage off on this thing. Goes for Ice Spinner, but he's going to take some Helmet Chip. And I think after a Heat Wave, that thing would have probably died. And it's not Defog either, so gonna be a tough situation. Zapdos is really good in this matchup, and you kind of want to get rid of this thing of stuff. And yeah, Eelektross is gonna do stuff, and he's gonna Coil. I would go for maybe Spin here. Ends up going for Earthquake, not killing, and then just getting Drain Punched and getting all that health back. So I think Spin would have given you a little bit more leverage because it means that Vikavolt isn't dying. You can use that as a way to potentially like deal with a Alomola, which is amazing. So I think Spin gives you more mileage, right? Like, yeah, you're putting this thing at 60%, but like you can do good damage with this, and like you're basically not gonna be in a great spot anyway. Ends up being Roost. Supercell Slam is gonna do a lot of damage, but he's taking Rocky Helmet Chip, which is great. But you can't really Roost all this because then he can just Drain Punch you or like knock off. Yeah, so is Heat Wave going to miss again? It does. Did that one matter? Maybe. Like, I think he honestly might have lived that, but it definitely would have put him in range of another one. So that sucks. Like, that is something I think cost him the game. Yeah, and so now he's just getting health back. Missing, like, yeah, he missed, what, 4, was it? What is that? Yeah, I think that was 3 Heat Waves. That's just insane luck. Like, that's 5, it's like 5% times 5% times 5%. That's, like, dang your shiny odds, right? I don't even know. That's 0.25% times another 5%, so that's 0.00125%, which is like damn near shiny odds. One over like 10,000. I don't know. That's crazy. Okay, so Mega Sam's gonna come in. It gets Elevate, which is awesome. Gonna go for Energy Ball. Hella overpredict. Why in the world? I'm sorry. I get that you're trying to go, like, trying to catch Aloe. Brother. You get plus, like, if you, okay, I can understand maybe he's like, okay, like, I don't want to get, you know, him go Aloe. He's like AV Aloe, but, like, you, number one, you should be predicting AV Aloe and prep. Like, you should be Nasty Plot. So, like, if he brings an Aloe, great. You just sub, or you, like, have, like, just Nasty Plot, and then you kind of just win, right? Because, like, what is this team in Nasty Plot? Donphan's at low %. You know it doesn't have Ice Shard. I mean, even if it did, it didn't matter, like, unless he's Spectrier. So, yeah, that was, oof. That was honestly the killer. Him going for Energy Ball, like, just sold that game. Just letting Eelektross do tricks on it. So, maybe he wanted to sack so that he could do, I don't know. I could see if maybe he was going for, like, Scale Shot with this thing, but even then it's like, he's probably going to run Play Rough, yep. So, gonna do 78%, insane. And then he's going to knock, dives to Helmet, and then, yeah, now you're basically, like, you also had a great check in this thing, and getting a spin-off would have just been nice, because then you probably take that knock. You might not take, like, a liquidation, though, so we'll see. So, anyway, yeah, he's going to just sit here and just Play Rough him. And then, yeah, just lose to Spectrier. So, again, that Energy Ball play was the killer, but though missing all those Heat Waves sucked. And I think Inate kind of escaped a little bit on the skin of his teeth there. I think that good Electros that he played that as well as he could, but I think this was more Tappen getting unlucky and misplaying and maybe not having the best prep. Like, I think Inate's prep was good. I think, yeah, he had to be scared of Spectre in that end game anyway. Like, I think Spectre kind of always is kind of a nuisance, but if you have that elevate and then you get that kill, like him staying in with Electros, I think that was actually kind of a choke. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I mean, I guess you just like fine with it, and then you like, because I think this might have been a Scarf Spectrier. But if you know he's Scarf, then you can just go hard into Roaring Moon. But then, yeah, then Aloe, does its thing, and yeah. So again, Rock's getting a ton of mileage here. So anyway, Inite takes this one. And yeah, we're gonna honestly just move on to the last match, which is gonna be versus Alex versus Sully. We have Simipour mentioned. Sully made some free agents, so he ends up now having Darkrai after our match in week 4. Alex has pretty solid team here that he's gonna try to run it versus. On paper, Darkrai looks like it can kind of go off. It outspeeds everything naturally on the team. Just has to get some chip on some stuff like Nidoqueen, but if he can get some chip. But then again, Gallade could be a good check. Hydreigon, if it's Scarf, could be kind of annoying for it. So, in terms of leads, you can also lead Simipour as long as he doesn't lead Superior, because I feel like Nidoqueen lead makes sense. So he ends up leading Nidoqueen. Could have very, very, like, my problem with leading Floette is, like, Floette in this matchup sucks. Like, I'm going to be so honest. Like, it's not a Pokemon. Honestly, it's not a Pokemon I would lead, right? Like, you have Melmetal, you have Nidoqueen, both, like, not Melmetal so much, but, like, Nidoqueen is there. Granted, right, like, you have Hydreigon, but, like, what is Floette doing to, like, an AV Melmetal? Or, like, I guess you can Psychic this, but, like, I guess you just Baton Pass after if he gets that play wrong. But now you basically have to Baton Pass, and now you're in a tough spot, right? So, gets Sludge Wave, does literally 41%. That's insane. Gets Headlongs, though, and just dies. So, this thing not being Shucka or Focus Sash is a choice, but obviously it was Life Orb, so there you go. And not having a good Tusk Switch on this team is funny as fuck to me. Okay. So, gonna go this. Is he gonna be... Yep, he's gonna be Glare. Let's see if he's sub-Leech Seed. Ends up being Light Screen, actually, which is very interesting. Not Defog versus the team with Skarmory, which is interesting. Ends up being Drill Peck, so get some good chip on this Tapu Lele. Get some good chip back with Moonblast, which is great. And that's insane. I think that's Specs. Moonblast just kills the Simipour. Yeah, crazy shit. We'll see if Moonblast kills. No, it doesn't. That's through Light Screen, though. That's actually insane, though. That does 40% through Light Screen. That would have done, what... is that half damage? I don't even remember. I like my brain is fried right now. It would have done 80% probably. That's insane. But Darkrai comes in. Now this thing is dead to Spikes, so that's always nice. Ends up being Knockoff, which is interesting. So he's going to be Scarf Hydreigon. Gets a good chip off with this U-turn. Ends up being Knock again. Going to get rid of the AV, which is, like we said, very, very likely there. Why he didn't go that on his Floette was very interesting to me. I understand that Tapu Lele had great offensive pressure, but so yeah, you basically can kind of just click Dark Pulse here, or honestly even Draco. Like clicking Dragon Move does a lot there. But Flamethrower is not the play in my opinion, because even though I guess, like, what are you worried about, like Body Press on Skarmory? I can see that. Okay, so ends up Flare Blitzing, obviously, because Heat Crash is not going to do much into a Melmetal. I'm going to go Superior to just die, I guess. Get some chip off on this thing. Put it in range of Hydreigon. Goes Great Tusk on the Earth Power, which is interesting. Now you can pretty much just go hard Skarmory. He's going to make a good double into Gallade, knowing that he's going to make the double into Skarmory. A good player would have stayed in and just CC'd, but he's going to CC on the Skarm. Is he going to get para'd? He does. That is so unfortunate, because that literally would have just probably just wrapped up the game, unless he gets like really lucky with flinches. But that I digress. So now he can just Dark Pulse, and we'll see what happens here. So Darkrai takes this. Unfortunately, does not kill with Ice Beam. So it's gonna be kind of an interesting end game here. We're looking interesting. If he gets a Morning Sun off, it might be okay. Or if he gets a move, no, he doesn't. He gets flinched. So yeah, that sucks. Yeah, Sully would have won that 2-0. But yeah, I guess that's what you get when you play some fun games. Yeah, Floette had good matchup here, but you gotta I don't know. I guess he went to try to break with it, and I guess that just didn't work. So that's okay. Sully will bounce back next week. Hopefully he's able to win out. Because I'd like to see him make playoffs. Because he's a friend of mine. So, but Alex is a good win. Just unfortunately it just came from hacks. So anyway, that's gonna be week 5, guys. Tune in next week for week 6. See ya.